one day your old pal Wade's gonna ask you to get back in the saddle again. When he does, say yes.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. We have been blessed with a full onslaught of Deadpool and Wolverine content.
I am soaking wet right now.
We had a teaser trailer during the Super Bowl, and now we have a full look at Hugh Jackman back in yellow. And if you found yourself asking, what is Deadpool and Wolverine about? What is Deadpool 3 about? Well, we're here to break that all down for you. Welcome to PrivyStory, the story behind the story. Let's break this down for you guys. So you might have found yourself asking the question, one, why isn't this called Deadpool 3? Why is it Deadpool and Wolverine? And how the heck is Wolverine alive? Let's break that down for you. So at the end of Deadpool 2, Wade Wilson steals Cable's time turner and fixes it. From there, he travels through time and starts correcting timelines in a very Deadpool way.
We're definitely naming our kids Cher!
Killing off his very own variant that everyone hated, including Ryan Reynolds, from Wolverine Origins, as well as killing Ryan Reynolds as he reads the Green Lantern script, which perfectly sets up this movie, which now, just so you know, in 2019, Disney purchased 21st Century Fox, and why that's important for this movie and Marvel moving forward is at the end of 1993, 20th Century Fox struck a deal and purchased some characters' movie rights from Marvel, including the X-Men, Daredevil, and Fantastic Four characters. And now that Disney, who owns Marvel, has purchased Fox, they have the rights to those characters once more.
To me, my X-Men.
And so Deadpool is now in the Disney universe along with all of those characters, and they're going to be slowly integrated as they have been through past movies and are now going to be integrated, definitely. And this may be Deadpool and Wolverine.
I am Marvel Jesus.
But this movie kind of goes off of that time jumping portion of Deadpool, and he starts messing things up. And as we see in the first teaser trailer, the TVA from the Disney Plus Loki series quickly interferes with him, as they do when they find variants messing with the timeline. And we see, Wade Wilson was basically with all of his friends wearing a toupee or, a wig, and basically seemed to have the perfect scenario. He almost did a similar thing to King the Conqueror and made his own timeline. And so the TVA quickly jumped in and said, you can't do that. And so they're going to be bringing him in for this movie. And we do not exactly know the purpose of what they are bringing him in for besides messing with the timeline. But it looks as though they recruit him for some way. And there are a lot of early theories going around that there will be some sort of variation of recreation of a very fan favorite comic called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, which, if you're not familiar with that comic, Deadpool basically, because he can break the fourth wall, figures out that he and all the Marvel characters are comic book characters, and that we're just our entertainment for comic book readers. And so he sets out across the Marvel Universe, and his grand plan is to kill all of them, and their needless suffering at the hands of writers. And the way that theory is that this could tie into the TVA is basically with the merging of Marvel Fox and Marvel Disney, is that there could be a version where Deadpool needs to kill off certain timelines for the TVA. And he could be doing that to kill off timelines within the Fox universe. And there's speculation on exactly why he would be doing that. But as seen in the trailer, the TVA, it's very interesting. He's not brought on by Mobius, which was the character we see in Loki, but it looks like someone of the same potentially job role. But the TVA doesn't look like the same TVA that ended in the Loki series. So I'll be very curious to hear what your thoughts are on that. Please comment below. But it feels like this TVA seems like the original TVA before the events of Loki, trying to stop variants and stop timelines. And so it looks like there's a chance that something was lied to Deadpool, or there's somewhere where he turns on the TVA as we see him fighting some of the TVA members, in certain parts of the trailer, actually just destroying them. Uh, and so one of the things that can be kind of shown this theory is that there's the kind of wasteland where we see Deadpool meet Wolverine. And it looks like it's going to be for the first time. And it kind of looks like the Void from the Loki series, where characters are kind of sent to their doom. And in this void, we see the 20th Century Fox logo kind of in the background, almost like to show the crashing of the Fox Marvel universe, which will be kind of interesting, fun to play on that. The other question you might be asking is, how is Wolverine in this movie? Because if you've seen all of the Wolverine movies up until now, spoiler warning, in the Logan movie, which was a fantastic movie, Hugh Jackman dies, and they have all said no one wants to touch that. That was a phenomenal movie. But the great thing about the multiverse is there could be a variation of Wolverine in a different universe. And in this one, we get to see him in his comic book accurate yellow costume, which everybody's excited about, including me. But this world, there's kind of a hint in the new trailer that came out that there's some backstory as to the falling of the world that Wolverine is in. And it looks as though Deadpool's trying to save his, potentially from the TVA, and he will need Wolverine to complete that task. The team up will happen. The question will be, how, at what point do they kill off timelines, kill off Fox characters, and what characters will be in it. As we can see in the newest trailer we got in the previous version, there was a look at some of the original X-Men Fox characters, such as Pyro. And then in this newer trailer, we get a look at some more characters from the X-Men Fox universe. They're actually villains. We see Lady Deathstrike, Azazel. We see what looks like Toad from the original X-Men movies, RIP to the giant Ant-Man from this universe, who seems to have died. What looks like going to be the big bad guy in this film, or at least from some of the trailers, is a character called Cassandra Nova, which in the comic storyline, she basically has all of the same powers as Professor Xavier, except she can walk, and she basically is kind of like his evil twin. And it's kind of unclear. It looks like she comes out of the Ant-Man skull, and they're in the void, which in the Loki series is kind of consumed by this kind of giant trash compactor called Eliath. And it looks like there's a chance. I mean, I'll be curious to see how they play it, but they might play it as that's just a variant of Professor Xavier that was pruned. It could also potentially be someone from that Wolverine's timeline that kind of destroyed everything. And so be very curious to see how they play that character. But as you can see here, she's just toying with Wolverine, and her powers are kind of limitless. So it'll be a very scary villain for them to go up against. And it'll be very interesting to see how that plays into the plot of this film. Basically, what's going to happen, or at least the early theories are for this movie, is that Deadpool's been messing with the timeline. He's pulled in from the TVA, and then based on certain reasoning, he's asked to complete a mission. There's early speculation that, and some of my early theories are that there will be something to do with there's time jumping that he'll need to have happen. As we saw in Loki, traveling through time and time slipping specifically is extremely painful, and Loki is a god. And so the theory is that the TVA enlist Deadpool and Wolverine because of their healing factor and healing abilities, and do carry out something for the TVA. And my guess will be that'll be ending certain timelines, which could hopefully bring them into some of the Marvel Fox characters, and especially some of the ones that were disliked. And ending those could be a really fun way to kind of take those down. I hope to see the 2015 Fantastic Four would be so great if they could take that out. But I know that according to IMDb, there are some characters that are already listed, such as Patrick Stewart. And I hope we don't see him die again. His death was terrible, and for such an iconic character. And then it looks like Jennifer Garner's coming back as Elektra from the Ben Affleck Daredevil film. So it looks like they're going to have some tie to that, and I'll be curious how big those roles are. There's chances they could be killing off other variants of some of the famous Marvel characters that we haven't seen, and it'd be great if they recast some of those with some of the original rumored castings that they had, such as like Tom Cruise for Iron Man, and some of these others, which could be kind of an interesting way to have those come back, get killed, and it's kind of like a fun play on the comics. But it looks like at some point something's going to go wrong with the TVA, and Deadpool and Wolverine are going to go rogue, pun intended. There will be events that unfold. Now, there's been many things said about this movie, how it's kind of a reset for Marvel Studios at this time, because it had a portion where they tried to put out so much content so quickly, and everyone was complaining about the quality of the content, and it felt like after Spider-Man No Way Home, there's a big drop-off. They've kind of done a reset. The CEO, Bob Iger, is back at Disney, and alongside Kevin Feige, they have released a statement saying they're focused on quality content now over quantity. And so this movie's the only movie coming out this year. And it looks like Kevin Feige's kind of said this is going to have a big statement on the future of the multiverse. And this is the multiverse saga. So there's actually a shot in here where Deadpool falls down and there's a comet behind him leading to that has the exact look of the comic, which is Avengers Secret Wars. Which is the already announced last Avengers film that is happening. And there's been kind of a lead up to that with the multiverse saga. But this movie seems to have a big kind of point in the Marvel Studios universe to kind of reset. And with everything going on with Jonathan Majors being fired from the King role due to his allegations, and then potentially stepping away from that storyline, it'll be very interesting how this resets, because and that comic storyline, the Avengers Secret Wars, it basically the kind of plot that could be inspiration for this film is where heroes and villains are transported to a battle world to fight. But what looks like more of a possibility is that there's a multiverse on the brink of collapse, and the only timeline that remains is ruled by Doctor Doom. And with them coming in with the Fantastic Four, it seems like that could be a hint. However, that would be a lot to set up, because they've been doing a lot of setup for Kang. There was the theory that was going to be Kang for this movie, and it feels like that'll be kind of hard to replace with Doctor Doom at this point, with having very little setup about him. However, you never know. It's a very interesting comic to throw in the trailer, very specifically showing off that comic book, Doctor Doom, and so there's some things there, but it'll be very interesting to see. So let me know your thoughts on what characters you think we will see, what cameos you think we'll see in this movie. I hope we see some really fun ones of potentially Fox characters getting killed off. Let me know what you think. Hugh Jackman's this Wolverine's world, what happened to it. Thank you all for watching. Please leave your comments below, like, subscribe.
For gosh sake, watch your language.
Thanks for watching PrivyStory, the story behind the story.